I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
It is time for Happy Hour. It is the Man Cave Happy Hour. Whiskey, cigars, spirits, and the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan.
I am Matt Fox.
And we are in the palatial Man Cave Happy Hour studios of Podcast Your Voice.
Round of applause for the Southfield Podcast Your Voice studios.
Our Berkeley, Southfield. It's all about positioning.
It's all about Southeast Michigan.
Our Berkeley Southfield studios.
Fashionable around that area.
Berkeley
yes.
Studios.
Berkeley, okay.
With a Southfield address.
But there's an Oak Park flair as well.
No, literally, that side of the street is Berkeley, this side is Southfield.
Yeah.
So it's all semantics.
It really is. But we are hailing from, Southeast Michigan. For those of you that are listening in other parts of the world, parts of the country and what have you, you know what? If you ever get to Detroit, you have to come and see us. You have to come and sit down with us and have a good conversation.
If you need a place to podcast while you're in town,
sure.
Happy to help you out.
Absolutely.
If you just want to come and drink some of our fine bourbons, you're welcome to come and do that as well.
So I walked in this afternoon because we have something coming up a little bit later, but I walked in and you're like, do you know what today is? I'm like, what is today, Jamie? He's like, it's National Bottled In Bond Day.
That's right.
So 123 years ago.
That is it.
Is when Congress, actually, the federal government said, you know what? Here we go.
Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about some bourbons that some value bourbons that you should know about.
Yeah,
should. And there's one we'd like to highlight that I don't think we've done, and we got to go do it. But it's going to be on the list, and it's going to cap off our list as a Bottled In Bond, and we're going to toast it with a Colonel E.H. Taylor small batch Bottled In Bond. This fella here is actually autographed.
Yes, it is.
By the bloodline of the E.H. Taylor himself. I don't know, great grandson or great grandson.
I think it was great. Yes.
Bo Beckman put his little scratches on there for us. Yes, note the bottle has bottle shown a little wear.
You know what? The bottle has actually lasted the test of time. You have really taken that bottle and used it for special occasions with special friends.
Yeah, I haven't, because it was autographed, and I'm like, do I drink this autographed bottle?
Right. And
then it was like, yes. And then do I finish that autographed bottle? And I'm like, well, save it for, because it's not. It's not as rare as it's rare, but it's not super rare.
Sure,
it's just hard to get in Michigan.
Yeah,
there's one of the value bourbons on the list. Super hard to get in Michigan. Apparently, it's just all over Ohio. It's just. So I take my time with it because I like it. It's nice.
Yeah, it is nice,
and it's nice to have it for a special occasion. It looks good on the shelf.
It does, and I got to say, I have been privy to this bottle, and thank you for sharing it with me.
Yeah,
and that's what you do with your bourbons and what have you. You share it with friends. You don't hoard it. You want to share it.
You know what else people should share with their friends?
What's that?
This podcast.
Oh, there's a few folks that are actually watching on the Facebook Live because we do record live, but we're also recording at the same time. So, I want to thank you guys for popping in, saying hi, and also, thank you to Mr. Smith. Hey, Mr. Smith.
So it's like, subscribe, leave a comment, collect, and tell 10 friends. So that's thank you for
10 friends. Tell 10 friends.
Thank you for joining us. But it's Bottled In Bond Day, and you had a little bit of information. You said it was 100 and how many years?
It's 123 years ago, March 3rd, 1897. Actually, Congress passed the Bottled In Bond Act. It was one of the federal government's first efforts to actually at ensuring the pure consumable product and truthful labeling of the products of Bottled In Bond.
And that's the thing. Colonel Taylor was like super advocating for it because he was proud of what he made.
Absolutely.
But people were like, bourbon and whiskeys were becoming so popular. People were pushing out anything and calling it whiskey. And it's like, that's turpentine with color in it. What are you doing?
Right. What spit is in there? So, Colonel E.H. Taylor, he ran both the George T. Stagg and the the Castle and Key distilleries, that was the major driving force behind the act itself.
Okay.
And the act was passed really in response, like you said, to bottles of spirits being sold that had who knows what in them, and who knows where the stuff that was in them came from at that. So, but also there was a tax break for those who complied with the act itself. So what does make up a bottle and bond bottle of bourbon?
Yeah, what does it?
Well, there's four things. The product itself. It does have.
Good.
I love it. I'm only one drink into the night. We're already counting.
Yeah.
So one. The product has to be of single distillation season, and that is from January to June or July to December.
Right.
That's that single season in distillation.
One season?
Yep.
One distiller? Oh, you're going to get into all that.
Yeah, it's a one single distillation season.
Okay.
Right? But it has to be aged and bonded in a warehouse for at least 4 years.
Right. And it's got to be a single distiller. It's got to be single.
Correct.
Same season, same distiller.
Yeah. And be bottled at 100 proof.
100 proof.
50% alcohol by volume, ABV. And like you said, it has to be distilled by a single master distiller at a single distillery. And the distillery must be listed on the label itself.
Right. Yes. The location, state and location. Yes.
Yep. So it's, that is those four things to make it a bottled in bond.
Yep. So, and they do pay a little higher tax on these.
Well, yeah, because
as they stow them and they're in the special bonded warehouse. I did all. Whenever I talk about a bonded warehouse, I just see Eddie Murphy sitting on. He gave me a match. Did you give him a match? Well, kind of. Well, we're starting with this box right here.
What I'm seeing right here, this is from the whiskeyjar .blog.
Yeah.
It says bottled in bond, or BIB, if you will, is actually legally defined as small batch. Right? So it's supposed to be the good stuff. But whiskey isn't necessarily defined by definition as it's good stuff. Batch, but if it's bad, there's no covering it up.
Right.
Yep. It's a straight whiskey.
So, and it's 100 proof, which is a minimum for a bourbon is 80.
Yeah.
So it's up a little bit, but it's not a flamethrower of a proof. So it's a pretty good one.
Yep.
I had a little bit of a sore throat, a little bit of a rock and a end of a cold.
So this should.
So help. I'm sounding good.
No, actually, you sound pretty sexy.
Do I? Is it? Oh
yeah.
So I apologize if I just and I don't know. It's just drinking the whiskey, doing a show before another show because we have Animal Talk coming up next.
Oh yeah.
And I'm doing City of Champions after that.
Oh wow. Okay.
But City of Champions, we're talking about Garwood, the boat racer.
Oh right.
So
and that's a Michigan, and he's from
all
Detroit.
the amazing things that happened in 1935 in Detroit in sports, and then but between Man Cave and City of Champions,
what's going on?
Animal Talk, and we're going to talk to Carol fucking Baskins. I don't think I'm going to say. I can't. We got to wait till the very end.
Yeah, depends on how the conversation goes.
Right. But there's this Animal Wellness Action Group, which is a political group, and they've been to Washington and they're advocating. It's basically a lobbyist group.
It's an advocate for big cats,
and it's all animals.
Okay.
They advocate for all animals, but currently the legislation that they've been working on lately is a big cat piece of legislation. And Carol Baskins has been working with them, and this guy Marty, we've had him on the show a bunch of times, and I'm going to send him a message. I'm like, Marty, if you want to be on the show again, bring Carol with you. And he was like, okay. And I'm like, oh, really?
Okay.
I'm like, okay. So I just thought it was really funny.
So that's why we're doing the Man Cave, to kind of have a few cocktails.
Yeah, I don't want to be boozing it up with them. But,
no, you were boozing it up right now. Just
so
sitting there having
that's
a conversation.
coming. I hope my voice holds out for all 3 episodes today. But we're going to toast. We toasted the day with a little wild turkey. And then we're going to toast Bottled in Bond Day with a little E.H. Taylor.
There you go. Well, you know what? TheManCaveHappyHour.com. You know what? Like you said, subscribe, come and check us out. Follow us. Watch us on the Facebook Live. Catch us on the audio podcast, no matter where you get your podcast from.
Right.
So, join us.
But like I said, this Colonel Taylor can be pricey. You'll pay $100 aftermarket. You'll pay, $150, $200 for a bottle of this. And you should be able to get it for $60, but you can't. But there's some bourbons that you can get your hands on that are really reasonably priced that you might not have heard of.
What's that?
And you'll see them on your shelf, and you should maybe check them out.
How many are you? How are we looking at today?
I'm not sure.
Okay. They're in there.
8.
8. Okay.
There's 8 bourbons reasonably priced that you should look at and consider coming in at 100 proof, but it's not necessarily bottled in bond. It's Old Granddad whiskey, straight bourbon whiskey, Old Granddad.
We tried Old Granddad.
Yeah, we've had the Old Granddad.
We had that with our author friend in Kentucky. Talk bourbon to me.
That's it. So
Yes.
we did the Granddad 114. So it is, but this version of it is bottled in bond.
Nice.
So a tip of the hat for the bottled in bond on that. But it's comes from your Jim Beam people, the Old Granddad, and that's chiming in right around $20 a bottle, which is really reasonable.
That is reasonable.
Another one coming in at 100 proof, tipping your hat to the bottled in bond, is Old Forester, the Signature Series.
God, love me some Old Forester.
Yep. I've been digging it. We bought that for Prohibition Day. Give us a whiskey holiday, and we'll celebrate it with whiskey.
Yep.
We bought the Prohibition style Old Forester 1920.
And we did that with our friends, Kentucky Bourbon Boys.
Yeah,
on the Bourbon Trail.
You know what? I went back to that the other day, and it was like real, not real buttery, but it was buttery. It was, I don't want to use the word smooth, but there was a slickness to
like a
it.
silkiness to it almost, a creaminess.
Yeah, it wasn't quite buttery, but it was creamy. I enjoyed the hell out of the pour again.
Right.
So Old Forester,
and that's the thing.
the
real
100
quick,
proof.
Before you go back, go on.
Yeah.
When you go back and try something that you've already had, and your palate has developed a little bit more sense, you know what? You can actually enjoy some of those reminiscences that you've had in the past, but now you're starting to find more as you try it again.
Exactly.
I love it.
So that Old Forester 100 proof is $30. Super reasonable, and you can see. I see it on the shelf.
Excuse me. Very, very reasonable.
So I.W. Harper Kentucky Trail Straight Bourbon Whiskey coming in at 41.
Ooh, okay.
Proof ABV. That's a very nice one too. Is very popular, and I.W. Harper was very popular in the 50s and the 60s.
All right,
but they're still around. They're still grinding it out, and they've resurrected the brand, and it's back out there on your shelves. You know, caramely notes, some faint fruity vanilla stuff in there. 88, the 15-year-old version. Is going to come in at $88 a bottle, but just the better value is the regular $30 bottle. Russell's has a 10-year. Russell's Reserve Bourbon 10-year, 45% ABV.
Okay.
And that one, it's a nice one. You know, you're up to 10 years, so you're going to have a little bit
more
of
pricier.
Yeah, a little bit of a price jump on that one for
60?
55.
Oh, okay, I was going to say 60. So.
And then Larceny, straight 92 proof.
Okay.
46% APV. The Larceny. It was, the brand was owned for a while by Julian P. Pappy Van Winkle. Was considered the inspiration for Pappy. So Larceny, if you like Larceny, you're gonna, it's a good value. It's a good value between $20 and $30 on that one. Here's one that I haven't seen around here very much.
Okay.
It's Medley Brothers.
I have not heard of Medley Brothers.
Medley Brothers, straight Kentucky bourbon. This is coming out of Forbes magazine. I got this an article, and we'll link the article in the notes.
Okay.
So people, and they have more tasting notes.
Right.
But the Melody Brothers, not to be confused with the Smothers Brothers, or the
Smuckers Brothers,
or the Cough Drops guys. Different.
Are they different? Are you
sure? But the label is similar because it's got the pictures of the little five guys on it.
Yeah, it's like, are you sure?
Coming in at about $25 for that bottle at 51% APV. And now here's the one I was mentioning. I alluded to earlier that is like you just can't find it in Michigan.
Okay.
Well, I know 3 stores right now I could walk into and buy it.
Well, let's go through those, shall we?
I would be paying, if you want to pay 5 times. What it's worth. It's Weller Special Reserve, that green label. Weller Special Reserve, produced by the folks over there at the Buffalo Trace, distilled by Sazerac, right?
Yes.
its DNA is similar to the Fitzgerald and the Pappy Weeded, but a great value if you can find it at its real shelf price of around $30. But at the 3 stores I see it at right now, it's like 120, 150. One had it for like 200. I'm like, you're out your damn mind, you know. So, but I did get a bottle of Weller, and I enjoyed the hell out of it, and I drank it too quickly. I lament how quickly it went because I got it at like I didn't know. It was earlier on in our adventures, and somebody said, "Hey, so-and-so's got a case, and they're selling them." I'm like, okay, I got time." I rolled over, I bought one, and then, we killed it off in a week or two, and then I was like, now I'm like, dang, these are hard to get in Michigan. And then the last one, coming in at number 8.
And this is the one?
Coming in at number 8, this is the Henry McKenna.
Right.
Henry McKenna, it's a nice bottle.
Yeah.
It's bottled, and it is bottled in bond.
Okay.
The Henry McKenna 10-year bottled in bond. Yeah, it's a nice one. It's where is it at on price? So bottled in bond, 100 proof, and the price $30.
Wow, that's
for a 10-year.
That's very reasonable.
So,
for a 10-year.
and again, it's the Henry McKenna's, especially the 10-year, because it's a good value. Sometimes it's hard to find,
right?
And then sometimes stores price them up,
right,
which is disingenuous.
Yeah, I was going to say the same word.
Disheartening.
Yes. It's like, what is that? What is it, that word that you use? Price gouging?
It's shitty is what it is.
So real quick, the whole bottled in bond, the back in the 60s and 70s,
right?
When it was the 80 proof version came out of bourbon, it was considered to be super smooth, in quotations, super smooth.
Right.
It's like these super smooth 80s proof spirits were all the rage back then. And the bourbon market, the bourbon market hit its darkest days back then when numerous actual distilleries were actually somewhat mothballed or even sold, and bourbon production was being exported due to the weak American economy back in the day, right? So bottled in bond, it's still it may not be, it's not foolproof, but what's in the bottle is going to be the same every single time.
Yeah, baby.
And that's why this act was created 123 years ago, so you get the same product every single time, right? So that's what's so important about this act 123 years ago is that it's, as consumers, we want, and do you want to have the same experience? I'll use McDonald's for example.
Yeah.
You go to McDonald's, you get a Big Mac. 3 weeks later, you go to McDonald's, you get a Big Mac. Is it going to taste the same exact way?
It is.
Right. So that's where this Bottled in Bond Act comes from. So it's going to be the exact same consumable item of bourbon every single time.
Right.
Love it.
So, all right. So I'm talking out of school here. So I'm going to try to look up the price of this Colonel E.H. Taylor.
Oh, fair enough.
So I am, because I was like, all of a sudden I'm curious.
Okay.
What the Michigan list.
So another thing, on this bottle, and I'm going to put the cap back on here. See the strip that's on the top of it?
Yeah, the text label.
The text label here, the strip. That's actually one of an homages to the Bottled in Bond history is this strip that's over these bottles itself. It's just reminiscent of the old tax strips that were applied to the spirit itself in the United States. And I don't know if there was any more lax from the IRS as far as a tax collection, or they're not so good at the tax stamps, but this is that strip of a tax stamp almost, if you will. It's kind of reminiscent there, which is kind of fun.
All right, so the small batch is 40.
Okay.
Michigan state shelf minimum.
That's good.
The single, what is it? The single barrel is 60.
Right.
And the barrel proof is 70.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. So I was thinking when I was saying 60, I was thinking the.
So is that all bottled in bond,
batch.
or is that just?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
But no, barrel proof is going to be whatever the barrel proof was, right?
Right.
And then, so usually about 128 on that. And then the single barrel is that's 100 proof as well.
Right. Oh, nice.
So,
I just it doesn't disappoint. The E.H. Taylor
Sure.
never does disappoint.
no.
So,
Smell that.
Yeah, I did. I nosed it. And I smelled
Here
it.
we go. Let's nice little cheers to the
cheers.
Colonel.
Thank you, Colonel E.H.
Happy
Taylor.
Bottled in Bond Day, everybody. You listen whenever, but there you go.
March 3rd.
There it is. March 3rd. Mark your calendar. We'll do it again next March 3rd. Cheers.
God, it's so good.
All right, there we go. And so that's it. Quick down and dirty little man cave happy hour to celebrate the
Down and dirty.
celebrate the
Bottled in Bond Day.
Bottled in Bond Day.
123 years ago, man.
Yep, there you go. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell a bunch of friends, and we'll do it all again very, very soon.
Yep. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Clink.
Clink.